Okay, today we're hoping to get more of our debugging in a state where it'll actually help us. Well, it's not exactly true. I want to see why this eggs graveyard is not becoming false. Because an egg is not getting instantiated at last X, you know? The egg at 1, upon a collision, or upon a vulture dying, our egg 1 X shouldn't be negative 20 in the graveyard, and it shouldn't be graveyard true. It should be graveyard false, and the X should inherit this 28.4X of this vulture last X. So we have to figure out why that isn't the case. So if we take a look at our player to enemy collisions, we can see that if we collide with it and kill the vulture, we send our vulture to the graveyard. We take our egg at that index out of the graveyard, supposedly. Yeah. I don't get why it's not working. Oh, you know what? I think I know why it's not working. Like this for loop has to go through each and every vulture in our vultures table, right? So our vultures 1 is getting set appropriately. For example, like let's say all of these values were getting set, and then it goes to, for I is 2, 3, and then it goes through all of those and it overwrites all the values because they're in the dummy grave. So every time we loop through it, we're actually overwriting all of our correct values. So how do we say exit the loop if any of those 1 collisions are detected and then don't cycle through the other? God damn. That makes my brain hurt. I want to say that we can test that theory out if that is actually the case. If we say a for loop in Lua with a -1 increment, I just want to see. Give me a break. I think if we say this is 3, 1, -1, so initialization, the range increment. So now this will count down, so it'll start with vultures 3, then go to vultures 2, then the last thing it checks is our vultures 1. So if our theory was correct, it should work now because we're counting down. And that way our vulture 1 is the last of the loop, so that we're not overwriting that loop with the incorrect data from the next ones. So let's see if egg's graveyard turns to false now. Nope. Okay, what if we said instead of this loop, so look, instead of this for loop, What if we're just checking not our eyes, but just Vulture 1? God damn. There's gotta be a better find and replace. Because I don't want to replace every eye, I just want to replace all the current active eyes in this one. Damn, there's gotta be a better way to do this. Oh my god. I'm just like, I need to get that. If this thing doesn't turn to Graveyard False at this point, when we hard code it in with the ones like this, I have zero idea what to try next. Because if it's not working here, then it's fundamentally just busted somewhere else. Or it doesn't seem like it would be, but I don't know. God damn, this is awful. There's got to be a find and replace, and then I can select how many of the eyes I want to replace. Because this is ridiculous. Oh my god. So instead of doing the for loop, we're just checking collision against Vultures 1. And we're just changing our eggs 1 table. Holy crap, this sucks. Gotta be a better way. Because if I just find and replace all the eyes, there are other eyes that I don't want to replace with a 1, so I can't just blanket find and replace this. And if there's an eye, for example, in Invulnerable, it would trigger that too, so it's like we'd have to bracket eye, find and replace, but only locally in this one function. I don't know if that's possible. But it's worth looking into because this is trash. Just to see it break, you know, by the time I finish all this. Because this is where, you know, our egg X should inherit the last X plus 4 because of the egg shape being so smaller compared to the Vulture. Okay. How did that beautiful experiment? Okay, so we're hoping that eggs 1 graveyard will be false once I kill the Vulture, and that eggs 1X inherits last X, which is still not the case. So jacked, man. I don't know what's going on. Okay. So what the we're updating. Is it because we're updating our egg? Like why doesn't it doesn't even initialize correctly? Okay, well, that time, it looked like our egg did get the correct last X of our vulture. Our graveyard is still jacked, but that... See, and that's... The vulture last X should be the egg X there. Those should not be two different numbers. Well, no, it makes sense. It's off by 4 because we shift it. Okay. It doesn't explain why the graveyard is still false. And we need to update the egg so that it can move and keep the DX of the vulture. Oh. What to do? So for some reason, when we update the egg, it overwrites and it's probably because of this, because the graveyard isn't getting flipped. If the graveyard was getting flipped, then the update wouldn't be messing with it, I feel like, but the graveyard isn't getting flipped, and then it's just it's overriding our X. It's overriding our last X position with our graveyard X position. Is there a graveyard getting false in our egg class? No. Or a graveyard true on initialization. But we manually reset it. In our player to enemy collision, we manually reset it to false. We reset the egg's graveyard to false right here manually. Starts off as true, but we instantiate it, then set it to false. Come on, what are you doing? Where's our play state? Did I quit out of our play state? Where did that go? What? Okay. Well, here's the problem. We set our graveyard to false, but then we initialize it after, which resets it to true. So we just need to move this to be after the initialization. And we need to make sure when we initialize it here as well. That's a silly mistake. By silly, I mean stupid. Because yeah, we were setting it to false, but then we were overriding it with the egg init, because it starts off in the graveyard, so we just need to overwrite that. Overwrite it to false so that we can update our egg. And then maybe we'll see if we can egg on screen. Hopefully. Have to make sure our egg update is on. Okay. Where are our object update loop? Oh no. Okay, it is on. Okay, now let's pray for an egg once I kill this guy. Oopsies. Hey, would you look at that? We got a yellow egg. That doesn't have collision. That fucks up the hatch animation. It's okay. We got an egg on screen, which is better than we had freaking yesterday. So we need to set our render for our egg to be white, so we don't have a yellow egg. Of dot graphics dot set color, and we're setting the color to pure white. 255 by 255. Okay. Nice. Cool. So, we don't have collision for our egg just yet. And hatching isn't working correctly. But we finally got an egg on screen, so that's good. Okay. So, what's the next problem we tackle? Oh, I guess we just gotta tackle collision. Egg collision. Player to egg collision. Collides with egg's eye. Oh, and then this is the problem. Wait. Okay, so I'm curious. I'm curious if we have more than one vulture, if that screws up our egg spawn. Because I'm thinking it will. No. Okay. So it looks like even though we do a for loop. Okay, no, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so the problem really was just that we were setting graveyard before our initialization, or our instantiation rather. Okay. Then why aren't we colliding now? If we collide with an egg, we collide with an egg, and the egg is not invulnerable and it's not collected, then, okay, so I'm gonna check. I'm gonna kill those other two vultures for the moment. So it's just the one. So we can just debug the vultures 1. And we go to player egg collision. And we can say, actually, yeah, we want to print out invulnerable and collected to make sure that both of those are false and remain false. Because otherwise our collision, that would explain why our collision's not working. So let's just print up, or we can replace our debugging with, we don't really care about the X now, we want to know if it's invulnerable. And we print out if it's invulnerable, and then we want to say collected, and then hopefully both of these stay false. Even after I collide with it or whatever. They should become true for a little bit. Yeah, invulnerable is true for a little bit. What the fuck? Okay, so invulnerable isn't getting reset, which is the problem. So it's still invulnerable. Where do we reset our egg invulnerable? We don't. Or did we used to? So it starts invulnerable. Where do we stop our... Bro, it's nowhere. Where the heck did that line of code go? At some point we had an invulnerable timer that was just... Yeah. Where... I don't see where we use this invulnerable timer anywhere now. Let me see... Let me check if we check one of our previous commits before we redid all of this. We go... let's just go to this one and we'll check out our egg class for our invulnerable timer and where we set that, because we're missing that completely right now. Nowhere. What about our play state? Oh lordy, where did it go? Play state, invulnerable timer. Really? Dude, what? The eggs were working not too long ago, like, how is it busted? So this was our egg hatching. So if our, well, the invulnerable timer is not even for hatching, it's for the egg not getting collected as soon as you spawn it. But maybe, really? So is it, this is so confusing to me. What the fuck? Where are we doing that then? And what was the timer we figured out? Oh, that's so annoying. It's so annoying. I don't remember taking that out. Yeah, it's gone. Wow, what the heck? How come this is the case? Let me pull up. What the fuck? I'm gonna pull up the game on my laptop here real quick, because I have an older commit of when things were working on my laptop. And then I can see where we were setting that invulnerable. Great. CD. Okay. Okay. So let me just look at my egg here. Egg class. We are doing yeah, we weren't doing our vulnerable timer in our egg class. So it must have been in our states. Must have been in the play state. Not seeing where I implemented it in any of my codes. It's got to be in the play state. It's got to be. It's got to be in the play state in the egg collision. Well, because so the thing is, if we start, our egg is invulnerable, which we do. We say invulnerable. No, we don't. Why the? Is that because? So the thing is, we're not using this invulnerable timer anywhere. I think if we're not in the graveyard. My head is exploding, man. I don't know why that was. How has that been broken for so long? Like the functionality is there. So we do turn invulnerable upon an instantiation, but invulnerable gets false. When do we do that? Nowhere. Invulnerable. True. If not invulnerable. Wow. Really? Okay. So we just have to re-implement that. That's trash to me. How is that possible? Anytime any of my past updates, this invulnerable must have been getting set to false. Otherwise you couldn't collide. So why is it only now? I don't know. We've got to do that though. It's like 1/10 of a second or something. It's either 1/10 of a second or 1/5 of a second. Do we do that now? So if they're invulnerable up here, then we need to start our invulnerable timer, which should not be in our egg class because we don't even use it there. It should be in our play state. And this should probably be called egg invulnerable timer. Okay. And we need it here. And we don't need to do a self. Egg invulnerable timer gets 0.1. Okay. Now, once invulnerable is set to true, we're gonna set if we've got to do this on a per egg basis. So, motherfucker. Let's just do it. I gets 1, 3, do. First thing we got to do is check if the egg in our global eggs table at the ith index has an invulnerable set to true boolean, and if so, see our eggs. We do need this as an egg member or field. So we give us this field, and it's called self.egginvulnerableTimer, starts at 1.1. And in our play state, if our egg is invulnerable, oh, give me a break, where are you? Oh God, here. If we're invulnerable, if the current egg in the global table is invulnerable, then that egg instantiation, its egg timer, its egg invulnerable timer gets updated. And it gets updated to its current self minus delta time. It's 0.10, so it'll then we can say if that said egg timer is smaller than 0, which after 1/10 of a second it will be, then we want to flip that boolean of our egg invulnerable to become false. Therefore we can detect our collisions. So now that we're checking every egg and decrementing its invulnerable timer if it's invulnerable, and then setting its timer to false, or its boolean to false, invulnerable boolean, now maybe with any luck we'll have collision back on our eggs, and there'll be 1/10 of a second where we can't get the collision on the egg. We add that 1/10 of a second so it doesn't automatically just give us the egg. Add a little bit, oopsie. Well, we got it, but it maybe 1/10 of a second was too fast. We shouldn't have bounced like that too. I don't know why we bounced like that. Okay. You know, we're making it back to where we were one by one. Oh, I hate this, man. Okay. Yeah, maybe 1/5 of a second it was, not 1/10. So all we got to do for that is go to our... We get 1/5 of a second here on the egg invulnerable timer, and you can see if you watch the boolean up there when we make it, when we collide with a vulture, how long it stays invulnerable for. See, so that shouldn't have been possible. 1/2 a second. Oh, come on. It kind of just flips right away, doesn't it? It's still, yeah, maybe it's something like almost a whole second. Because we're trying to stop it from being so easy like this. Yeah, like where you didn't collect it right away if they were just floating by you. Yeah, just like that. We don't want it to be so easy, so that's good, I think. And then is the hatching? Hatching is still busted, but we're getting there. Whew. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm happy we made some progress because that was getting really frustrating. But maybe it's just over half a second. I don't know. We can always tweak that fairly easily. We need to fix our hatching. We did this, and it was 0.7. And we did this. We need to do we need to fix our hatching animation to properly spawn a jockey. But it's working, it's working. It's working slowly, it's working. I think I'm gonna call it a day. I'm a little fried. I'm gonna go eat some habanero pizza at Evan's house. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully for a bigger day, because I'll have more energy and I didn't have work all day, so. I'm gonna say, global eggs now updating properly with collision, which is nice. And then we'll push it to our origin main, and we'll call that a day. Thanks for watching, guys. Tomorrow we're gonna be doing more stuff. We're gonna be hopefully fixing that hatching animation. We're gonna be potentially spawning those jockeys, and then seeing if we can get the jockey collision right, and then we'll be back to where we were pre 3 episodes ago or whatever, where we started this huge migration. Because then we just need to get the jockeys colliding individually, which is the whole reason we refactored all this stuff. So if we can get that going on, and we can get jockeys' scores to be on, for more than one of them to be on at the same time, then we can finally start not only our new class of our vultureless jockey, or our jockeyless vulture, but then we can start working on the AI system for the jockeyless vulture to find the jockey and then collide with it. And at that point, we get to do our tier system update for our vultures. Right now we only got bounders and they're red, but they're going to be hunters that are white and shadow lords that are blue, both of which have different AI, both of which are worth different points upon collision. And then once the tier system's in place for the vultures, that's the last thing we have to do before we start doing all the logic for each different wave. And then, you know, I don't want to say that's it, but you know, minus the ground platform shrinking and the hand coming out of the lava and all of that good stuff, that's going to be a chunk of the actual game, is all the wave logic. So once we get the bad guys finished, which we're creeping up on, we're going to finally start building all the levels. We almost have all the puzzle pieces in place to start building the levels, which is really interesting and cool. So yeah, hopefully we'll be there in a couple more episodes. If this continues to go decently, we'll probably have an episode before, because I want to put off the tier system update. I'll probably do another episode of like tidying up some code and making sure we don't have any useless code, because we just found that Invulnerable Timer wasn't getting set at all in our update functions anywhere, so that was kind of useless. So we'll kind of have to dig through and make sure our code is cleaned up and nice and making sense and organized, and then we can start doing the big tier system update, which I think is going to be cool. It's just I've been putting it off forever because it's tough, but it's going to be a big chunk of the game, and we're almost there, man. I'm a little scared to be done with this, because then I'll have to move on and do something completely new and probably more difficult than Joust, which is scary, even though, you know, Joust was made in '83. I'm not going to be making Uncharted just yet, but I went from Pong to Flappy Bird to Joust, which is pretty dope. Yeah. I'm thinking I would like to maybe do like, I would like to get better at like rapid prototyping or something, like how fast can I make a Frogger game, but you know, very crappy, like green square is frog and red square is car, and you know, brown square is log, and just get like, how fast can I get those things together so I can get some rapid prototyping, and because I want to, you know, build my skills at making games and stuff. So I think it would be a cool challenge to be like, yeah, can we make Frogger? But limit ourselves to like, hey, we got 5 episodes to make Frogger, or like how far can we get, or something like that. 5 hours to make Frogger or something. And then maybe periodically we come back and try to beat our score or whatever as we get our better skills. But yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another day of programming. Yeah, catch up.